Tonight, the heartbreaking story of suffering mothers and their deformed children creates a wave of demands for swift government intervention to alleviate their plight.
Calling on government to establish some fund, a social support or social welfare fund that can support such people disabled in society. As enshrined in our constitution, they have right to protection and to live as human beings. So the government should establish some social support fund.
We will tell you the touching story of one of such suffering mothers and her twin babies joined at the stomach.
The cry of a woman in pain echoes through the ward of this hospital. In there, a young woman endures the excruciating pain that comes with the birth of new life.
A fascinating piece. You want to stay tuned and listen to the details here on Top Story. Top Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success, our passion. Balaka Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water, as well as Lifebuoy, still 100% better germ protection, plus myjoyonline.com.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
Deformed with heartbreaking consequences. That is a sad story of some mothers. They are pushed to the point of desperation as they strive to save the lives of their babies, malformed at birth. Some mothers give birth to babies born with their brains sticking out of their heads. Others come into the world without the anus. That's a Joy News exclusive story that dominated the airwaves this morning, moving many to tears. The coalition of NGOs in health is demanding immediate government action to alleviate the plight of these suffering mothers and their deformed babies. We will hear their reasons. But first, Sir Kwame Boateng tells the story of a mother with a deformed baby.
The cry of a woman in pain echoes through the ward of this hospital. In there, a young woman endures the excruciating pain that comes with the birth of new life. The joy of hearing her baby cry is enough to numb her pain, albeit temporarily, so she could savor the moment. Akuya Mansa, as I've named her for this piece, wasn't so lucky. Her two previous deliveries were problem-free, and she was therefore hoping for yet another. Except the bundle of joy turned out to be two girls with defects.
Too
often I wail and ask why this had happened to me, and then I console myself with the gospel.
Very often when you have a baby with a birth defect or a malformation, even though you will try very hard to counsel her and explain to her what is going on, of course, she also has people in the house who are telling her, this one, that kind of thing. So very often you find that they just vanish. They are there with
the head of the mother and baby unit at the Konfonochi Teaching Hospital, Dr. Chukua Planjru, commends Akuya Mansa and her husband for not abandoning their babies, as has been the practice. In her 28-year-long experience at the hospital, Dr. Planjru says virtually all parents who deliver malformed babies don't want to have anything to do with them. But Akuya Mansa says she could not reject her own babies.
Because
I decided to love and nurture them. I see them as visitors who will feel blessed and stay when you give them the best reception. Otherwise, if a visitor does not feel welcome, they will hurriedly depart.
2 days now, you was started and say, Obeko, me imagine say me so na matime ni watch from na domo.
Despite the love, She says her ultimate dream would be to raise the 10,000 Ghana cedis needed to pay for the surgery that will separate them. The stigma of having malformed children can be quite unbearable. Dr. Planjou says they avoid putting pressure on parents to accept their malformed babies for good reason.
We had a mother, for example, who abandoned her baby in a public toilet. Her baby had a huge head. The baby was her sister who took the baby. She said, oh, the mother is going to dress her wound, so I'm taking the baby. And then she took the baby and dumped the baby in a public toilet.
Those who manage to escape death end up in orphanages. Loveless Ado heads the social welfare unit here at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. She has processed several abandoned babies for various children's homes.
Any baby that is abandoned, if it's abandoned at the hospital, the first thing I have to do is report to the police. Then I'll report to my regional director, that is social welfare, so that he will be aware that there is a baby at the ward. Then after discharge, I will write 3 reports on the baby, a social inquiry report. Then I will write a waiver report to waive the medical bills of the baby. And I'll write another report admitting the baby to the children's home. And I will send the waiver report to the chief executive of the hospital for him to approve of the report before the baby can be taken out of the ward. Then the social inquiry report and the admission report, I will take it through the social welfare department. And the police is also supposed to give me a police extract. So I'll attach that to the 2 reports that is going to the Department of Social Welfare. The regional director will minute on it, and the baby will be sent to the children's home.
It is a typical day here, and a team of doctors and specialists are busily attending to these babies, all in a bid to give some joy to parents who come in with heavy hearts. Professor Peter Donko is a magnofacial surgeon and leader of the team.
These services are available locally in Ghana. We encourage all mothers to seek care. At the moment, the leading centers where this can be done are mainly in Kumasi and Accra, Konfanochi and Kolibo. They should seek out the practitioners who can do these surgeries for them.
Seth joins me in the studio now. Thank you, Seth. What sort of assistance did you uncover, if at all, exists for such suffering mothers and their deformed babies?
Some get help, but not in all cases. For example, I was told by the mother of the twins that they have told her if she's unable to raise that money, they would have to write letters to companies. They would have to bring the twins in the media, radio, TV. So she tells what is wrong with the babies. So help come from outside. Basically, that's what I got from the hospital. And I understand that in some cases, when the social welfare gets to know that there are mothers who are there unable to pay their bills, in some cases, they come in and help them.
But essentially, apart from that, the mothers are left on their own, maybe with some philanthropic help from doctors and friends, etc. There's no structured help for them.
Exactly, per what the Suman told us, that appears to be the case, Evans.
Okay, and we understand that some of the mothers are moved sometimes to contemplate killing the child.
Yes, there have been instances where some mothers, because of the extent of the deformity, run away leaving their children. Others, because of their inability to foot the bills, will just leave the children behind because they won't waste money on these babies, whilst there are about 4 or 5 babies at home. Basically, that was what I got from this little research I did.
Seth, thank you very much. Now, well, the coalition of NGOs in health is demanding immediate government action to alleviate the plight of suffering mothers and their deformed babies. I'm joined on the line right now by the National Vice Chairperson of the coalition, Madam Cecilia Senu. Thank you very much, Madam, for your time here on Top Story. Now, you believe there must be some state intervention. Explain.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm talking on behalf of coalition and civil society in Ghana. I'm saying that the government should immediately come out with some social support or social protection funds for disabled in society. Because if you look at our constitution, these people are also children and they are supposed to benefit from the right to life. And so quickly the government should come out with some social support and strengthen our social welfare system so that these people can benefit and they can have right to life.
Okay, stay on the line for me. Stay on the line for me briefly. Hold that thought, because I've been joined by Mr. Christopher Barbaro, who is the acting director at the Social Welfare Department. Thank you, sir, for your time. You heard that. Is that possible to set up this fund from where you sit, looking at the challenge that we just highlighted in that documentary? Hello, Mr. Barbaro.
Yes, please.
Great. So we just heard from Madam Senu, who is with the coalition of NGOs in health, and they want some quick state intervention, talking about some social fund of a sort to help some of these mothers. Can that be done?
Yes. What is in the pipeline, or what is happening, is that the government has set aside 2% of the common fund to help people with disabilities throughout the whole country. And this fund is based at the district assemblies with the person with disability organization. So government has put in place a kind of fund, and it is cut across all shades of people, including children who are in need. And we also have the LEAP. The LEAP is an empowerment, it's a fund that is used for communities. And the target group are persons with disabilities who have no capacity, and the aged above 55 years who have nobody to take care of them, and children who are orphan and vulnerable, OVCs. But this fund, it goes through targeting. But what happens is that when you have, if you come across an abandoned child, the first thing you have to do is to whoever finds the child have to report to the Ghana Police Service and the Social Welfare Department. And what we do immediately is that we send the fellow to the hospital for medical attention, while all the hospitals have got social workers, and they will undertake an investigation and write what we call social inquiry reports, which we use that one to trace the families.
So essentially, the point you're making,
in the interim, we send them to the children home.
Essentially, the point you're making is that the structures. Essentially, the point you're making is that the structures are already in place to handle such challenges with mothers who have. Okay, let me bring in Madam Senu now. You heard that. Is that the solution that you anticipated? Because we're told that it already exists.
Yes, thank you very much. As a country, we know a lot of structures and systems are supposed to be in place, but it is the implementation that we're looking at. Because what he has said, I know the District Assembly Common Fund part is supposed to be allocated to support these people in society, but it is not happening. And so what we are looking at is this fund should be put separately somewhere, even before it should be disbursed as such. It shouldn't be even added to District Assembly. It should be put a separate account somewhere so that mothers and with children with disability will not be going on air and be begging people to give money. I mean, it should be the responsibility of the government. You see, so for me, it is not saying what is supposed to be there, but it is the implementation, what is actually happening on the ground. You see, it's not working, and so we have to look at it and come out with explicit budget lines. And the money should be disbursed ourselves, not to be added to District Assembly. And it should be monitored so that people who are supposed to benefit from this fund receive it. And instead of children dying because of their being disabled, and it is no fault of theirs, we should own, because these are future generations that the country has. We don't know what these children will be.
Okay.
This government has even appointed a blind person to be a minister. Who knows what these children will be in future? And so for us as civil society, what we are saying is that there should be fund. It shouldn't be something that's already existing. We want to see the implementation, and it should be true, something we can all look up to.
Okay, Madam Senu, thank you very much for your time. A quick word to you, Mr. Baburo. Your reaction to that briefly.
Yes. You see, the government has put structures in place. But, you know, government work is not like NGOs. We go through a process. And the release of funds to and the government organization must pass through Treasury. I must pass through a process. So I've heard that he says the district common fund is not working. It's working. The money is released quarterly. And it is sent, and there's a committee in place that dispenses that amount.
I see.
They need to, it is paid every 2 months. And I know as he is talking, as for government organizations, they are not, you see, we have to go through a financial procedure.
I perfectly understand. And I'm pretty sure this particular subject will again run its course as we examine the angles and see how we can, as a country, deal with the plight of some of these mothers, alleviate their plight indeed, and help them deal with some of these challenges. But thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Top Story. That's Christopher Baburo. I just ran out of time on that one. He's the acting director of the Social Welfare Department. Earlier you had Madam Senu. She is the National Vice Chairperson of the Coalition of NGOs in Health. Do you want to join us again on Newsnight? Because you will be hearing details about the trade fair side. What is happening to it? Today, the Trade Minister was asked questions about it. We've gone behind the scenes and have a special report about the potential collapse. That is, if not collapsed already, as far as the trade fair is concerned. You want to listen to us on radio, on Newsnight at 6 o'clock. But Top Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services, your success of passion, Belacqua Mineral Water, the new generation mineral water, Live Boy, still 100% better germ protection, as well as Blue Rose Limited. My name is Evans Mensah.